Well, hello everyone and welcome. And I'm here with Denise Stegall, our longevity specialist, and we're talking about the importance of self-care and reaching your personal goals. We've talked about setting and achieving your goals, and now we're going to take a deeper dive into the importance of connection and the value of your community and hitting those personal goals. So let's talk about community because I am a pretty independent person. And I didn't realize how important that community piece was until I started CrossFit in what I call the old person class. And they actually call it the Legends class. It's super cool because the age ranges go between 60 and 94. And if you watch a 94-year-old doing burpees, can I tell you how motivating that is? And when you're in an environment that maybe it's brand new and you don't know what you're doing, having people around that welcome you is everything. So I think this has to be one of the most important pieces of this personal goal piece for me.
I agree. Community and community is different from everyone. A community could be, your group of friends. It could be like you're saying, the group at CrossFit. It could be your church or synagogue. It could be your pickleball team, or your close-knit family and friends. What you consider, community may be a little different, but I think it really is important that we have this group of people who, you have their support, you have um their not just their support, but their love, and their important, like they know how important being in your life is to them, and it's equally as important that they're in your life. So like they know that you're each other's BFF, so to speak, in your
Mm-hmm.
community. Um, because without it, we lack a sense of belonging and a sense of security. So if you don't have that, like how do you grow, you know, personally, if you don't feel like you belong anywhere, or if you feel insecure, there is no sense of personal growth. You can do a lot of reading and a lot of things like that, but when I think of personal growth, that's a part of it. But personal growth also means, how do you connect with others? How do you connect with the world? And what is your place amongst all of the people in the world? Because we all do have a place. And I think community helps us understand that.
And we're so much more separated from each other now than we used to be.
Yeah, we really are, and I know we pick on social media a lot, and the challenge that I see with social media is we look and we say, oh, look, we have 495,000 friends, but who do you really know? Do you know do you know if they're married or not? Do they have children? Do you know what their kids do? Do you know what they do other than, what it says on their Facebook feed? So when it comes to connection, sometimes it can start online, but I think it's so important for us to take it off, and actually meet people, because that's really a community. Unless you're talking to somebody all the time on Facebook, and talking like we are here, where you can see each other, it's not really a community. Because when you're facing a challenge or a setback, how does your Facebook group, how does that help you? Or the people that are friends with you on Facebook, are they giving you guidance? Are they giving you the support you need?
Mm-hmm.
That's what a community does. And by doing so, they boost your confidence, they increase your resilience, and actually give you a greater sense of personal fulfillment that
Mm-hmm.
helps you to grow personally. So without that fulfillment, it's kind of void. And so what's the point, right? So having a community of people can help you grow and really increase that sense of fulfillment and purpose.
Especially when for some reason, you don't show up, maybe once or twice. And then they're saying, gee, where were you? We missed you. And when somebody says, "Oh, we missed you," how does that make you feel? It makes you feel really good inside. It makes you feel like you're valued and you belong there. And
Yes.
that is really important.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to feel wanted.
Mhm.
it's funny, we really are a tribal species. We've gotten so far away from that. But when you look at, how did we start? We started in tribes and, groups of people or troops of people. In this day and age, we call it family. But with all of the globalization, people move. My extended family is in England. I have cousins that if I tripped over them, I wouldn't know who they were. So when it comes to, community, sometimes we need to create that community of people who, yeah, care. And how, yes, you feel great when somebody says, "Oh, we missed you." But at the same time, there's a little bit of guilt there because you're like, "Oh, I let somebody down. I don't want to let somebody down because I don't want somebody to let me down." So there's all of a sudden there's this new feeling. I don't want to call it responsibility, but it's part of a connection when you're connecting with people.
And it can
And
help you stay on track for your own personal goals.
oh,
Because it
absolutely,
is easy
absolutely.
if you are all by yourself, and it is easy to not, oh, I'm just going to do part of this, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm speaking for myself, I don't know. Oh, it'll be a fine. These damn exercises for this hip, yeah, there are some days I'm like, and then I go to the PT person and I go, well, I don't think I did that one enough.
Mhm.
I guess it was supposed to be important, but that's just because it's me here in my office or by myself. So having somebody else to hold you accountable or remind you why it's important, maybe
Yeah,
that's even more than hold you accountable.
absolutely. And it's those shared experiences too, because maybe that the person, whether it's your physical therapist, maybe they've been through it, right?
Mhm.
And they know that, they've gone through it. And if you do this, um, you're going to do so much better than if you don't. And they know it by, through experience. It's the experience that these connections really can help, how they can help us grow is, when we hear something from someone, and when you're young, I understand this. When people are young, like they don't want to, they want to figure it all out themselves. But when you get to a certain age and you realize that you can learn from other people's experiences, other people's mistakes, and other people's successes, easier is it to move forward and actually reach your goals because you've heard about the pitfalls. So you learn how to avoid those because the community is saying, okay, we tried this, don't do that.
Mhm.
Oh, don't eat that, back in the day, oh, don't eat those berries from that bush, those will kill you. Okay, I won't eat those. Right. And community is funny. It could, it's usually people with similar interests. It doesn't necessarily mean backgrounds. A lot of communities, we have people from all over, but sometimes it includes people with similar backgrounds, but definitely people that have similar goals, experiences, and values.
And common
And common
interest for that particular thing.
Mhm.
A book club.
Absolutely.
You're all there because you want to read.
Right, exactly. I think an important piece too with community, as people are sharing and they're sharing their experiences. Um, when it's our turn to share, whether it's, I have knowledge to share with you or I need support, you feel validated and seen or heard,
Mhm.
because somebody is actually really listening. They're there to help you. They're there to listen. They're there to respond and to help you through. So the one thing a lot of women say when I'm working with them is like, I just don't feel heard
Mm.
or I don't feel seen. I go to the doctor and they tell me XYZ, but they're not listening to me. And I understand that. But when they're in my community, whether they're working with me directly or, within my group program, they feel heard because I give them that opportunity. They get the opportunity to speak and to share. And I think that's what helps to strengthen those bonds and gives people that sense of belonging and acceptance. This helps them grow personally. So actually, then they can grow professionally as well.
Mm. I like that. And that being heard is important, or being able to offer your input. And not from an ego standpoint, like you have to be the one that says something all the time, because there's the ego piece, but then there's the offering your, and not advice, but offering your input to a particular situation. You never know how that's going to affect somebody else in the group positively. It's what can you offer to lift everybody up, because it also gives you an opportunity to accept what they're saying more personally too.
Right. And how many times when you're talking to somebody about something, does it feel like it becomes like a brainstorming session and you come up with this,
Mm-hmm.
this new solution that, on your own, maybe you would have come to the conclusion at some point, but together during a brainstorming session or, a conversation with people, you come up with a solution so much easier. And whether
Mm-hmm.
it's the other people or person, that said that kind of gave you the aha moment, 9 out of 10 times what I find during these conversations is if I'm looking for support, I end up coming up with my own aha, but the
Mm-hmm.
other people kind of pulled it out of me. And that's exactly what coaching does, is we pull it out of a person. And so as a coach, I work with a coach because, we all need to have that community. So I have a community of people, but I'm in a community too. You and I are in a community together, and you don't have to just be in one community. I think that's another thing to be aware of is, you can be in different communities and still feel a part of each one equally.
There was a time years ago that your neighborhood, we never had to define this community thing. We were just having, you having tea with a neighbor, or we were more social as a society. And there are people that are fortunate enough to live in areas that still have that piece of social ability that just is natural, that doesn't need a definition. But in a paced life, especially if you're really pushing for some professional goals, your personal stuff is going to be put to the sideline more times than not. And realizing, I think what you're bringing about in this segment is so important to remind people that in order to be successful, you said this already, but in order to be successful in your professional side, you have to take care of your personal goals and your personal well-being first.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I think you did. Thank you,
Oh, thank
Denise,
you.
as always. Hello, everyone. This is Jean Gallagher, Discover Rising Tides, and I want to just take a moment to talk about my friend, Denise Stegall. I am honored to call her as a friend, and I'm so grateful that she gives us her insight during our shows, each show, and talks about healthy living, eating real food. You hear Denise say, eat real food a lot. Well, she means it, and she knows what she's talking about. She is an amazing healthy living coach, curator at Living Healthy List. And if you ever have any questions about what is real food, why does it matter, how does that apply to me, how do I change, what do I need to do, how do I even create a healthy living shopping list, make sure that you call her. She is your healthy living coach, and you can find her at healthylivinglist.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, how the outside makes the inside better. I am Jean Gallagher, and I'm really excited. And as you can see, we're here from the barn in Maine, the ongoing project, and maybe we'll share some pictures of this too, but I'm really excited for the conversation that we're going to have, and welcome, Susan.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm equally excited. This is so fun.
So Susan Otten from Indie Do Good, but there's more to this story here. So Susan, give us a quick bio and a little bit about Indie Do Good, and let's just dive in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to. Indie Do Good is a business we started in 2016, and our mission is to help small businesses and entrepreneurs do good in their communities and our world. And, everybody's passionate about something. Everybody loves something. And this is a way that we encourage our clients to support what they're passionate about. And it's so much fun because we provide services like warehousing and logistics, pick, pack, ship, give them some advice on the world of Amazon, introduce them to people. I think I want to put on my business cards the next time I print them, Chief Dot Connector, because, you know, we know a lot of people. And for every client, we give them an easy button because we want them to think of us when they have a problem or a question to solve. We also do marketing and engineering that leverages both my and my husband's career experiences. I've been in tons of businesses, global businesses and corporations, doing marketing, branding, and social media stuff, communication. So, but my real heart and the thing that I love, and it's a good example of how amazing my team is and our company is, I and my daughter left for 5.5 months to go hike the Appalachian Trail. And, you know, how does an owner do that? How does a leader of a small business do that? And it's because the culture that we have, it's more like family. We got each other's back, you know, we're supporting each other and supporting our clients. So without missing a beat, they handled things while I was gone. And it gave us the opportunity to hike the Appalachian Trail. And here in the Midwest, not a lot of people know about the trail. You're up in the Northeast, so you know it intimately. And but it goes from Maine to Georgia. The length of the trail changes a little bit because they do trail maintenance each year, but for us it was 2,193.4 miles. So it's easier for me to just say almost 2,200 miles. But it was with my daughter, who's a little bit different than I am, a lot younger, of course. She's an emergency veterinarian. She played 2 sports in college at a D1 level. She's run more marathons literally than she can count. She you can't remember how many she's done. She's an Ironman, and she really stepped up and became the leader of the team, which is kind of hard for me to say, being a strong, you know, businesswoman, and you know, I'm usually the one in charge. So that was a little bit of interesting dynamics of kind of granting her that, but she was great at the logistics and figuring out how far we could go that day and where we were going to stay that night. And then we did videos at the same time. So she was the videographer, the editor. She'd upload to the cloud. We had an amazing marketing person that supported us, and pro bono smushed all the clips together, added the soundtracks, put in the text, and then published them to YouTube 96 times. We have 96 videos. So if anyone wants to live vicariously through our YouTube channel, they can watch us along the way. And for us, our do good, our bigger purpose, the thing that really propelled us along the trail, was we were doing it to raise funds for Parkinson's disease research, because my husband and Greta's dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's at about 50 years old. So not, I guess, anything under 60 is early onset or something about that age. So not real young, but young enough to have lived with it for some time now. So, and I'd like to share that we raised over $95,000.
So incredible.
Yeah, for Parkinson's. And we were named Michael J. Fox Foundation's Rookies of the Year, which was lovely. Such a great honor at their donors gala in New York City the April after we finished. So that was
so amazing.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
So amazing. Quite often here on Discover Rising Tides, we spend a lot of time talking about the business and then getting into a little bit of the self-care, but we're going to throw this in the other realm. And I encourage anybody, if they're looking for marketing, they're looking for understanding how shipping their products and doing anything of that sort with, and having the backing of to do good company, check out Indie Do Good. But we're not going to focus a lot on your business. And I really want to selfishly talk about your hike and get into that and spend that as the meat and potatoes for 2 reasons. One is, it is amazing that you both walked almost 2,200 miles. But I think even more amazing is that you were able to raise so much money for such an important foundation. But let's talk a little bit about the trail and give some people an idea of how it works. And because you did it a little bit differently than what's quote normal or what
Yeah.
most people do. Most people start on Springer Mountain and they head north to Katahdin, and you
Mhm.
started. You did a southbound or a Sobo hike, and you started in Katahdin and headed south. So you really went down. It's like going downhill, right?
Well, sorta.
Sort of.
One of the fun facts about the trail is it's like going up and down Mount
Mhm.
Everest 16 times.
60 times.
And I'm not a big math person, but I was like, okay, so what does that really mean? First of all, how high is Mount Everest? And it's over 29,000 feet. So higher than, yeah, almost twice as high, twice the height, twice the elevation of
Mhm.
any mountain we climbed along the trail. But that's 179 miles. And that's not going like this on the road. That
Mhm.
elevation is measured straight up and straight down.
And straight down.
Yeah, so that was one thing about the trail. And living in Minnesota, very flat. We have lots of lakes. It's
Mm,
usually pretty, flat terrain. And it was kind of hard to train for that.
yeah.
Um, it's and yes, we went backwards, and that was because our daughter Greta, that went on, was a leader of the trail team here. She was finishing up her veterinarian medicine internship
Mhm.
in Denver. So she was out there, you
Mhm.
think, oh, you're in Denver, you get to practice on all those mountains. Well, internships don't work that way. She was, lots and lots of hours, and on her days off, it was laundry, grocery shopping, trying to get caught up on sleep, and doing medical paperwork, doing the notes and stuff,
Mhm.
and prepping for the week. So that wasn't completed until July 4th. And so then she
Mhm.
got home from that, came back to Minnesota, decided here's where she wanted to get her job. So she interviewed with companies. She had 8 days before we caught a plane to Bangor, Maine. And
Mhm.
she interviewed, got offers, negotiated offers, accepted the offer, and said, I'll see you in January. And this was, yeah.
That's
So,
fantastic. And so for people that realize too is when you're starting, and I know I have not hiked the Appalachian Trail. I'm a I want to be person. I have hiked Katahdin, so there's that piece. But what also happens too is once you get into New England, it's some of the toughest hiking of the whole trail. And so people that start in Georgia, they're really what they call developing their trail legs for a
yeah.
really long time before they hit Vermont and then the whites of New Hampshire and then Maine. And
Mhm.
what you all did is you went from flat Minnesota to 5,400 feet of Katahdin.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing about, elevation, when they say 5,400 feet, you're starting at almost sea level. So that is, you think,
Mhm.
oh, those mountains aren't that high. Well, in Colorado, they might be 14ers, of course, but you're starting at about 7,000 feet, or, where the
Mhm.
parking lot is when you take off for the trail. So it is a lot of elevation. And that was a bit of a surprise. I didn't understand that
Mhm.
geography until we got out there. The other thing, you talk about trail legs. I think I need to, and I've told people this before, it needs to be corrected. It needs to be trail legs, trail abs, trail arms, trail brain, trail butt.
Yes.
There's a lot to it. And again, we did a fair amount of training. We did a practice hike. It was only 12,500 feet. We started at about
Mhm.
7,000 feet, but there was over a foot of snow up there. It was Memorial
Mm.
Weekend when I had time off. It snowed the week before, it didn't melt at those higher elevations. And so and the whole purpose was to test our gear. It's something
Mhm.
that is traditional, especially as a new hiker. We had never backpacked before, ever,
Wow.
ever. And so, you got to make sure that every ounce in your backpack is worthy. We started
Mhm.
out with about 40-pound packs, which were too heavy. I think we finished
Mhm.
with about 25-pound packs. So we got really
Is it?
smart.
They say you pack your fears. What was heavy for you?
Yeah, yeah, it was heavy. I think the other thing about starting north and going south is right after Katahdin, which is not really a walk in the park. That's a pretty
No, not at
difficult.
all.
Yeah, and then the down is always worse than the up.
Mhm.
And we decided to go down a different way, of course, and we came up, and that was the much harder way. And again, not really used to climbing and stuff like that. The other thing is my daughter is 6 foot tall and I'm barely 5'4". And so she'd go first and she'd say, "Oh, just put your foot here, hang on to with your hand here and put your foot here." And it's like, but wait, I have 8 to 10 inches that I have to slide my butt down
Mhm.
this sheer rock, and hopefully I can catch that toe hold so I don't keep going down the mountain.
Right.
So, and that
Yeah,
was the first,
Katahdin
yeah,
is full of huge boulder climbs. Yeah.
yeah. So that was
Yeah.
interesting. And because I think because mostly I didn't have my trail brain yet, on day
Mhm.
18, I fell, and it was my first emergency room visit. So,
Mm.
and that resulted in 9 stitches here. I think it's healed very nicely, but
Yes.
but we had to walk 3.5 miles to get to a road crossing, no cell connection, so we didn't know
Mm.
where the closest ER was. It wasn't bleeding too bad because it was first week in August. I had a buff on that was pretty tight, so the
Mhm.
compression was helping. And that was the experience of our first miracle. Hadn't seen anybody hiking all day. And one thing you learn about the trail is the community along the trail is unbelievable. And it was
Mm.
about 1:30 in the afternoon. I tripped on a root. My head hit another root. Your head makes a really weird sound when it hits that hard. Before I even
Yeah.
sat up, I screamed our daughter's name, and she knew something was bad because I don't normally scream like that. And by the time I sat up, at my side were two gentlemen, and the one said to the other without missing a beat, "You know what? When I fell last week, and I think I got steri strips left in my backpack. Can you get those out?"
Mm.
So they whipped out the steri strips. By then, Greta had gotten there as a veterinarian. She whipped out her, you know, I think we had hand cleaner with. It was early, we had sanitizer.
Mhm.
That bottle got thrown out pretty soon. But so she cleaned the wound, dried it off, put the steri strips on, which helped to close the wound so it wasn't bleeding so bad, and then put the buff back on. The guys even had a big gauze square bandage
Mm.
we put on underneath. So that was great, but we still had to hike 3.5 miles to get to a road crossing again
Where
without.
were you when that happened?
We were still in Maine, but very
Mhm.
southern Maine.
Mhm.
I don't remember the name of the town, and I don't know if I could pronounce it if I did. But 16 people in that like 12 hours by the time we got off the trail and then back on
Mm.
the trail. It helped us. Perfect strangers just went out of their way, gave us a ride, wouldn't take any gas money, bought us snacks, recommended a hotel, took us to the hotel. I mean, just unbelievable. Took us back to the trail, which was like an hour and a half drive. So just
Mhm.
amazing, amazing support along the trail. And that was an accident, right? Not going to happen again. We had
Mhm.
established goals. It's a good thing to establish goals when you do things like this. And ours was, or for me, it was hike, um, eat, sleep. Our goal was to be home by Christmas. And then later
Mhm.
on added one, quit falling, or as I like to
Yeah.
say, don't die. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, one of the common things that I hear as I watch a bazillion Appalachian Trail videos and wish I was there is that the trail provides, and it also it creates a um, it shows what humanity really is.
Mhm.
As we listen, as we're home and you listen to the news and you think that it's all doom and gloom,
Yeah.
spending time, the experience that you had on the trail, just to understand that humanity is
Mhm.
alive and well.
Yeah. Yeah. And Greta had done a ton of research in preparation for this. She and a
Mhm.
good friend were going to go on the trail, and then the friend had to back out. And, Mama Bear here wasn't going to let her go on the trail by herself. And, I would join her and her friend, usually at the tail end of a hike, catch the last couple of days. And
Mhm.
so I could do it, right? And
Yeah, no problem. No big deal.
no big deal. But the thing is, she had read about the amazing community along the trail, and we got to witness that firsthand. I mean, we stayed with 25 perfect strangers. They're called trail angels. From our videos, they could kind of figure out sort of where we were, where we were or what cities we were coming up on. and cities, that's too big a word. We didn't go through a single city, trail towns. But they would reach out because three hurricanes rushed up the East Coast the year we did it in 22 and slammed into those big mountains, and just temperature drops, winds are horrific, and a ton of rain. And it's really not a lot of fun to hike in the rain or sleep in your wet hiking clothes and stuff like that. But they would reach out and they'd put a comment on YouTube or on our social media stuff and say, hey, we're close to this crossing. We think you're close. You let us know when you think you can be there. We'll pick you up, give you a warm shower, a hot shower, a warm bed, a home cooked meal. Oh my goodness. They'd let us do our laundry,
Woo! That's a huge deal.
Yeah, it's huge.
A warm shower is amazing.
Oh, it was so cool. And it was great. Any bed was amazing, but if it was twin beds and we got to sleep farther than, the 6 inches apart in the tent, whoa, that was a big deal. Yeah, so it was and again, we met this one group of older lady hikers. They do section hikes every weekend, just pick a place and do a little bit of it. And they bake chocolate chip cookies before they go hiking, and put them like 2 to a little Ziploc bag and hand out cookies to people along the trail, through. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's great. One of the trail angels had a huge basket of goodies that you wouldn't think of, like stationery with stamped envelopes to write a letter home.
My.
I mean,
usually it's food that you're getting from people on the trail.
Yeah. And they,
wow.
Yeah, so it was so great. We did get, there was one time there was a cooler, and our trail names, you come up with names, and our trail names were Lilo and Stitch. And there was this big cooler that they wrote on it, good luck, keep going, Lilo and Stitch. And it was so cute. And somebody had seen the cooler before we got there. And of course, all the hikers are going through the cooler and, taking out the cold Starbucks milkshakes and, stuff like that. Or the other thing that was totally decadent was fully loaded all sugar Mountain Dew. Woohoo! That was the best treat ever. Yeah. And snacks and, some real food and stuff too. But it was so great. And yeah, definitely not healthy eating, but it didn't matter. Now, when you go to the grocery store, it's got to have protein, got to be low in fat. And I really don't want any added sugar. And there you're like, what? Only 20 grams of sugar?
Carbs and calories. Bring it on.
Yeah, because they say on average you burn 5,000 calories a day. I think we each lost 15 to 20 pounds along the trails. That was, no surprise. We knew that was going to happen. Neither one of us had a ton of weight that we needed to lose, but man, we were buff when we got back.
I bet you were. You were. What do you think what are some of the surprises that whether it's sharing a tent with your daughter for 5.5 months or just the experiences that you had, were there some surprises that you didn't expect?
I think the lessons I learned along the trail, I've broken down in my mind because there was just so much, and you have time to think, which is one of the really amazing surprises. Another one was, I still don't quite understand, it was so quiet. Like there wasn't like birds chattering or squirrels, it was so beautifully, delightfully peaceful and quiet. The beauty was unimaginable. I mean, you just to get to spend, we were 154 days on trail in God's creation. Just the beauty was indescribable. And the peace that came from that. Now, there was places where you're walking along knife's edge, and yes, I did slip, and yes, I did fall. And my daughter was quite amazed that I didn't break my leg as it fell into a crevice and my backpack threw me over the, edge of the cliff. But, those were few and far between. The surprises and the learnings I broke down into 3 categories. So you need the right, and this applies not only to the trail, but I've figured out it applies to running a business, and it also applies to life in general. And you really need the right tools. You can't do a job without the right stuff. you know. And we did a lot of shopping. I mean, God bless the REI in Denver, where we spent, I'm not kidding you, 2 solid days. I mean, we were at least 16 hours in that store talking to amazing salespeople, and we had our list and we changed our list and we tried things on. And yes, we tried on sleeping bags and hopped around the store, and I mean, we had a hoot. We have a video of that too. But so you got to have the right tools, without denying. There was people on the trail that were ultralight, trail runners that had it was like a string bag, but they were ultralight backpacks, and there's both ends of the spectrum. Gives me great appreciation for Grandma Gatewood, who was the first woman to through hike the trail at like what 60 years old, and her backpack was,
and her kids.
Yeah, her kids and a gunny sack.
Kids and her, on a stick.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think she had a shower curtain for her tarp if it rained. So,
and if anybody's curious, I would encourage them to read the book about her. It's really phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Phenomenal.
And I think she did the trail 3 times. I think the last one she was into her 80s. Yeah, so I got nothing to whine about. Good grief.
Yeah, you got a few more trips left in you.
I know. And then the second is training. Okay, you can have the best tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use it, doesn't matter. So, and that's, I mean, apply that to business. You can buy the best computer systems, you can invest in AI, but if people don't know how to use it, or it's not easy to use, or whatever, it doesn't work. I mean, like, we practice putting up the tent, we practice packing the tent up, we make sure that our inflatable sleeping pads, there was this thing you could scoop air into it and then squish it into
the bag.
We left that at home. That was heavy, and I could blow it up just as fast back up, and Greta was making dinner and I was setting out our sleeping gear, inside the tent. So we both had our jobs. And then the third T is team, of course. And, you got to have the right. And Greta probably could have done the trail without me. I was pretty much a boat anchor, but yet she turns it around. She says, but people liked you. You made them laugh. I was not your normal hiker. There's, I think it's 20%, maybe 30% of the people actually finish the trail that are through hiking it. There's, the people over the age of 60 is only about 30% of the hikers, or 20% of the hikers. And then women are 1/3 of the hikers. So you do all that math, which I can't do, but it's not very many old women that through hike the trail.
Well, okay, hold on. Older women, not old women.
Yeah, right. I got more trails to do. Yeah, we'll have to have
you do.
Yeah. So I mean, those 3 things together really kind of broke down, and surprised me about the trail is that I thought I'd just be out there, taking a walk in the woods and having a picnic, for 5 months. And it was more than that. There was really powerful lessons, very, very amazing faith, experiences, and literal miracles that happened along the trail that really kind of heightened my awareness, to look for those things, don't take them for granted, and then that whole thing we talked about with the humanity of people, and just the resiliency. And I think the other thing that I don't think we could have done it, or I could have done it really, we had conversations about this, without that mission or that goal of doing good and helping raise funds for Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that part too, because just the trail in itself, the 2 of you going out and doing the trail, or whoever does the Appalachian Trail in sections or the whole thing, is such a great undertaking. However, when the dynamics of that change, I would think, right? Because now you're doing it for a reason that's outside of just yours and Greta's, and for a purpose that's deep into your heart and your family's experience. But that must throw another dynamic into preparation. And what I wanted to know is, how do you organize for anybody else that wants to do something similar to this and benefit a nonprofit organization? How do you even begin that process and then support that through? How does that work?
Yeah, and that, it was extra. It was another task. Like when we got to camp, and we averaged 14, looking for my number, yeah, 14 and a quarter miles a day to finish it. And it, at the end, we were doing a marathon every day. At the beginning, we were happy if we did 8 to 10 miles. That 14 miles didn't start right at the beginning. And we took 0 days where we went into town or light days where we'd walk into town a few miles, get our stuff, walk back out, figure out where we could camp and set up camp. But when you'd get to camp, you'd pull out. I kept my phone on airplane mode all the time. I mostly wanted to know what time it was, and we didn't want to burn the batteries. We had other devices we had to keep charged, like headlamps and Greta's phone, because she was doing all the videoing. We had an emergency GPS communication device. We had to remember to send the signal every night to our family and friends that we're at camp, we're okay, or we're in town, we're okay. So we but that was another task. And the first thing you do is, do we have cell connection? Can we work on the videos? Can we upload? Can we text our family? Rarely did we do a phone call because that took a lot of battery. And the cell connection wasn't that great anyway, but there was work that had to be done. And even if there wasn't cell connection, Greta still had to edit the videos that were taken during the day, clip the beginnings and the ends. She would title them all and put them each into a folder. Each video had its own folder in our cloud, in the cloud we established. And so we'd upload them, or she'd upload them, all of them together in one batch when they were all ready. And then our marketing guy would pull them down and publish them. So, and we tried to publish every other day, or rare occasions a third day. So that was hard because if we didn't have cell connection, we still had work to do. But if we did have cell connection, we had a lot of work to do, because then we were checking.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, Facebook posts and replying to every comment that we could, and reading the comments in to the videos, because we were checking the weather every day. We were getting information that way too, so that was good. It was just the mission, though. I mean, when we went to the gala, it was amazing, because the number of people that support the Michael J. Fox Foundation through these kind of efforts, it was extremely humbling. And like, we got there and we're like, okay, remember, little over $95,000, 154 days on trail. I don't know what the math on that is, but there was a family there that's been doing events for 15 years. They do a bike event. In the year that we did the trail, they raised over $1.5 million in that one-day event. Over the course of their efforts, they've raised over $11 million. This one family, it's just,
It's not amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's another group that does Top Golf events, a nationwide golf tournament, because Top Golf can network all their sites together. And the year after the trail, I ran the Minnesota Top Golf, and I'll do that again this year. If anyone in Minnesota wants to come Top Golf with me, let me know. But there were so many creative ideas and so many things that people did. And actually, the year that we were on trail, there was so many like milestone discoveries. The protein that's present in people's brains that have Parkinson's was identified in the year we were on trail.
Wow.
And they've done this huge study for years and years and years and years, and it involves both Parkinson's patients and people that don't have Parkinson's, because they want to have, comparisons. And I signed up for that. It's so fun. The first thing you do is this scratch and sniff test, because your sense of smell is affected. And it's like, man, if you can't identify the difference between burning rubber and strawberries, you might have Parkinson's. So just saying. But I passed that. I passed the interview. I passed, filling out a whole bunch of forms and stuff like that. But I failed. Loser. I didn't pass the brain scan. So I don't know if that means I'm too crazy, too normal, too whatever. But you know, they do a lot of screening to get the right kind of subjects in their study, and they just continue to learn so much. So anybody that is interested can go to the Michael J. Fox Foundation's website. It's so great, the information that is up there, the studies that are done, the reports, the ways you can get involved. I have a good friend there that I was actually eyeing this. Michael J. Fox Foundation does a hike of Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, and I'm like, I've always wanted to do that, but not this year. And you only have to raise a minimum of $10,000, which is easy peasy. I can, share tips and tricks on that.
Did you ever think that you'd be able to say $10,000 is easy?
No, that was funny too, because at the beginning, I think 10,000 might have been the first goal that Greta set, because when she did the Ironman, she raised over 6,000, I think it was. And, she wanted to be set a realistic goal. And I'm like, oh, we can do better than that. And, I think our first goal, then we said it was at 25,000. And then we blew through that. I think we finished the trail at like 84,000. And then another, 10, 11,000 came in after that. I think people were holding out to see if we were really going to finish, make it all the way. That was good.
Where do you think, so did your YouTube videos drive a lot of the donations, or what did you do to get the word out? How did you work that?
Yeah, well, the YouTube videos were really, it was, again, Greta's idea. It was great. She had watched a bunch of videos ahead of time. She not only did we do the videos, she recorded them, but she kind of had the storyline figured out, and we talk about it during the day. We started everyone with good morning, it's day number, whatever it was. And which was so fun, because the last day, was special. The first day was special. And we'd like forget what count we were on and stuff like that. You'd have to go back and check the recording from the day before. But it was also a great thing. We got a lot of really good feedback that people loved the videos. They turned off TV at night. They weren't that short. We usually put 2 days together, so they would watch one day and then wait and do the next. As soon as they saw the good morning, they stopped and would watch the next episode the next night. They said it was great, great content for kids. They could explain what we were doing, talk about Parkinson's, talk about raising money, that kind of stuff. We were a little crazy on the trail. I mean, we got a little slap happy. My husband, Ron, told a joke of the day, those kind of crazy dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes. Yeah, he did those. Made sure they were always appropriate and clean and, good for kids and stuff like that. And sometimes my son would step in and do a joke, or my husband would grab the dog, and, Eve would do the joke. And, so we tried to make it fun. Another thing we did on the trail was, and we didn't start this at the very beginning. I guess we were getting a little tired, but we came up with a crazy song as we entered a new state. It was about that song. So, the one at the end, the Georgia one, Greta started out, Georgia, singing Sweet Georgia. And then we turned it into a rap, I think. We did a couple raps that we just totally made up on our own. Mostly we took songs about a state and just changed the words to it and stuff like that. But Greta's got a beautiful voice. When Greta was little, she told me to sing quieter in church, shh, mommy. And I said, it doesn't make a joyful noise. Doesn't matter what it sounds like. So as long as it's joyful, it's okay. So we did it. We had a lot of joy along the trail.
So I have two questions here, and I could keep you here for a couple of hours just talking about the trail, because we really only touched on Maine, and I just want to get into everything. But I not to drag it out, but two things that I want to know for you, kind of in closing or getting ready to wrap this up, is how did the trail change you? Number one, both you and Greta, and number two, how did raising money change you for such an important cause? Yeah. And especially and how did it affect you and your husband, and just the three of you working together?
Yeah, it was really great. It was a bit hard at the beginning. Ron's very private and had a bit of an issue about telling the story so publicly. And Greta kept working on him, and it really turned out really well, because it wouldn't have been as impactful, I don't think, if it wouldn't have involved him, and he had a key role in it. I mean, not only was he taking care of the house, I mean, if I I mowed most of the lawn last weekend, and it was 18.8 miles, so it's not an easy lawn to mow. It's quite hilly, and he did it by himself mostly the whole summer. You know,
Wow.
that's a beast. And no riding lawnmower, too hilly, too steep. But
Mhm.
that effort, that it really truly was a family effort. Our son and his wife helped out a lot. You know, they'd make sure dad was good, and give him some healthy food, because he's a big junk food guy. So that was really important, that kind of our own personal family community really came together.
Mhm.
And then, you know, the trail was hard, it was long, but it was always the big goal. And that really,
Mhm.
weighed on us, that even with my second injury, so, 2 ER visits, that one was 10 staples across the top of my head in the lovely state of Roxylvania. Um, a part of the trail where I could not just walk. I had to mindfully
Mhm.
place my foot, make sure it was stable, and then move my next foot and place my next foot. And I knew I was going down, so I did the tightest tuck and roll you can do, um,
Mm.
backpack on, and that's why I got the, injury at the top of my head. And it's a little weird having a staple gun, across the
Oh,
top of your head. And Greta was even grossed out when she had to take the staples out, because normally you go back to the doctor or the ER room or whatever, and they take the stitches or whatever out. And even for the stitches, they gave her a scalpel and, some alcohol swabs, and that wasn't a problem. But the
but
staples,
here you go, take it off in the trail.
yeah, here's a staple puller, and so that was a little hard. But it all pales in comparison with what people and their families, people that have Parkinson and their families that support them, what they go through.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
for Ron to be home alone and manage the dog and the house and the business and his job and all that stuff, that's a lot for someone with Parkinson's.
Mhm.
It's a lot for anybody to
Anybody, right?
yeah, yeah. So there's that. And then, but it really was what kept us going, because it was a big goal. And the other thing that it really created awareness is, yeah, $95,000 is a lot of money, right? $1.5 million is a lot of money, but research is so expensive. And Michael J.
Mhm.
Fox is doing such a great job taking a really aggressive risk approach, reasonable, but they're being aggressive. They want to find a cure. And I think that's the right approach, that we got to find a
Mhm.
cure. And he's been such an amazing spokesperson. It was great. The documentary that came out on Michael J. Fox's life was released, while, and we got to see the second airing. The first airing was, I think, with Apple as sponsors, and Michael there and stuff. And we got the gala, the donors gala in New York City in April, after we finished the trail, was the second airing of the movie. And that
Oh,
was
wow.
just so powerful, and really, really special to see it with hundreds, thousands of people in the room that understand what this is all about. So that was really great, and really showed us again community. It's back to this community of people that are supporting this effort. I mean, the community on the trail
Mhm.
is huge, but the community of people that support this is big.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And then there's so many people that come together for this, and there's $95,000 is nothing to shake a stick at. That's so amazing, so
Yeah.
amazing. And you can look at it in two different ways. It's just a drop in the bucket for what all the costs are, but without
Yeah.
your $95,000, that's a huge piece that wouldn't be there without the hard work that you all as a family have done. And you're still doing, because there's the Top Golf event. So if people want to donate to your efforts,
Yeah.
what's the best way to do that?
Well, maybe you can put in the notes for the podcast, my
Mhm.
email address, and I'd
Will
be
do.
happy to share that. And then, if they if they want to make a donation, I don't need the credit for it. I'll just go to the Michael J. Fox Foundation site, and there's a donate tab there, and it's really great because they like our trail was a long period of time, and there is a portion of the Team Fox that's for endurance athletes that are doing long-term things. And but when a donation was made, and even when you do it on the Michael J. Fox site, that money immediately goes to research. They don't wait around till the end of the month. That money is going right away. And they didn't wait till we were done with the trail. That money went, people donated even before we got on the trail. So that's great. And if they want to join the Top Golf, they can email me, and then I can tell them if there's one in their area, because they're all over the country. And if not, hey, come to Minnesota. It's great in October when we're going to have it. It's October 20th, so you can mark your calendars and get involved in that. Or there's ways you can reach out on Michael J. Fox to get involved in other fundraisers, and too. There's bike races, foot races. I'm speaking at a golf event here, a regular golf event, in July. So there's tons of ways to get involved. And it means so much to the people that suffer from it and their families. This is one condition, like many health conditions, where the family is hugely affected too. So,
and if somebody wants to build a team and do an effort that you and Greta have done, the information's on the website as well on how to make that happen.
Yeah, and there's so many great staff members there that will help you along the way. If you don't know how to do something, don't worry about it. They'll guide you. The donation platform is on their site. It's easy to use. It's easy to set up. And, they really make it as easy as possible, because it's really, their job is to support these efforts, and it's the people that are doing them that that are really the secret sauce that are getting people involved and stuff like that. So that would be so awesome. Yeah, I'd love that.
That's fantastic. Susan, I would just really want to thank you so much in many different ways. One, for your time and your conversation, but for the hard work that you do and you've done, and raising money and just the positive effect that you have on people. So if anybody would like to have you even speak at an event, you're open for that?
Oh man, I would love that. Yeah, I'm speaking, if anybody's in Minnesota, the golf event in July, that's the 26th of July. I'm speaking at a Christian organization, kind of talking about those miracles I mentioned. That's the 24th of July. So I'm going to get good practice, 2 presentations in that week. But I'd be happy to come and speak anywhere to try to get this word out and talk about, I do really think not only is the trail incredible, but those lessons learned and how they relate to leading a business or leading a team. There's so many great things that we learned from the trail. And if I come and give a 30-minute talk, it's a lot easier than watching 96 videos. So, but I think we'd have fun too. Maybe I'll tell a dad joke or two.
There you go. So we'll make sure we put everything in the show notes, Indie Do Good links, the links to your YouTube, and we'll put the Michael J. Fox link in there as well. And again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to have you here.
Yay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for listening today. Today's show was sponsored by Seaside Solutions, my financial services company. As a business owner, it's easy to be pulled in many different directions, and often taking care of yourself plummets to the bottom of the list. For me, I find myself outside to reground. My time outdoors helps me manage my day more effectively and be more present for my clients. Through this, Discover Rising Tides was born. At Seaside Solutions, we truly believe that education is the foundation of financial wellness. Our primary focus is to provide guidance that is designed to help you achieve your long-term financial goals and visions. Working with a plan allows space for doing more things that you love, like being outside to make the inside better. If I can help you create or realign your plan, or if you would like to be added to my weekly newsletter, please let me know. This week's topic was 5 ways to set more achievable goals. Your referral means the big, beautiful world to me, and if I can help, please let me know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.